Shalom, friends of Israel. I am Sal Isbram, National President of Jewish National Fund USA. Thank you for joining us on our daily briefing from Israel. We are in day 13 of the war, and we will hear from Olga Meshu Washington, Chief Operating Officer of Club Z and member of the JNF USA Global Speakers Bureau, whom you may recall was in our Situation Room in Israel on October 8th with our CEO, Russell Robinson. We will hear from my friend and fellow National Board member of Jewish National Fund USA, serving as our chair, Jeff Levine. Those of you who joined us yesterday know that Jeff is in Israel as part of a unity mission for the leaders of major Jewish American organizations. We will conclude with an update from our Chief Development Officer from Israel, Chief Development Officer on our Israel Resilience Campaign. First, we'll go to Lieutenant Colonel Tiran Atia, Director of JNF USA Affiliate Special in Uniform, and how this unit aimed at integrating youth with special needs into the Israel Defense Forces. Is Tiran with us?
Yes, I'm in. How are you all?
Great. All right, thank you.
Thank you all. I just will give a brief about the situation that we are in. I'm here at one of the bases in the Gaza envelope, part of the Warrant 8, in which 300,000 of us Israeli soldiers are waiting for the order to get inside Gaza. It could be in a second, it could be tomorrow, but when the time will be right, we will do whatever we need to make sure that there will be no enemy near our borders. We will need no more shelters in the new villages that will be built very, very soon. So in the north also we have some incidents, but those incidents are, as for now, in control. And I want to speak about special in uniform. From Shabbat, we started to evacuate special in uniform soldiers from all the Gaza envelope group homes that we have. Some of them go to neighbors, some of them go to their families that we arranged for them, some went to hotels, and they were insisting to be part of the thing that is happening, and they are not allowed to go to the base because the attention of the commanders is not in special uniform, beside those whom are very high qualified or being like in the Iron Dome and other places in which computers that are dealing. But most of special uniform soldiers are back in the home front bases or home front areas that we arranged for them. And side with not being bored or making sure that they are part of everything that is being done, they packed more than 2,000 packs of necessities for the soldier, which means that hygiene issues, socks, lamps, or torch, anything that the combat fighting soldier asked for. And me and the staff of Special in Uniform are back and forward, side by side with our shift in the army, going to deliver those boxes. And each box has a letter inside from Special in Uniform soldier or from special need kid that says as follow: we love you. We want to make sure that you will go in safe and be back safe. And I'm getting so many huge hugs for those amazing kids that the only thing that they want is to be part of. And yesterday I was in one of the areas and I saw a wheelchair, mobile wheelchair. And I asked myself what this wheelchair is doing here. And after a while, I saw an ad or a post. I don't know. I don't remember from which network that they did not spare even special need any kind of. Those barbarians did whatever they feel like it. So back to special in uniform, they are enthusiastic to be part of everything that is being done, waiting, and we made sure also that they won't be just sitting around and making sure that they are helping in the war efforts. And we bought them some things to pack for the soldiers, side with the boxes that are just nice to have, some of them even military equipment. And this is special in uniform. We are part of everything that is being done with the state of Israel, with the IDF, with everything. And we are seeing so much appreciation. And I'm getting phone calls from all over the world, from the US, from friends asking about, and those concern messages are so important to us, especially in this kind of time. And we know that our big sister, or huge sister, beyond the ocean is part of us. We are part of them. And when we did say never again, something happened again, but we are going to continue and say never again. And the only thing that I can say, we will win. We are here to stay forever and ever. We don't have any place else. And I will conclude with translation of what Biden said, President Biden said, Am Yisrael Chai. So thank you for all the love and the support. And I can say and tell you that it's just bring up our moral to a state in which we can say that nothing will harm us. We had very crucial time that we had this following 2 weeks or 13 days, but we will overcome it. And we will see the uprising of the Gaza envelope villages or kibbutzim or whatever was there. And we will make sure that Am Yisrael Chaim stay as it is forever. And again, thank you for everything that you are doing for us. The Jewish National Fund, it's more than a family, much more than a family, and I can tell you that. I will give you some, if you will see at my posts, I gave some remarks about things that were written to me, and I responded, and I can tell you the amount of love that we are getting is enormous, and we are reflecting it to our soldiers, and you can see that we are all one. We are all one. So thank you again, and Am Yisrael Chai.
So Tehran, first of all the hugs that you got, we're going to double those from here in the United States. I want to make sure everybody knows what Special in Uniform is. This is a program where Tehran created years ago. JNF is a proud partner. They take young adults who get a letter that unfortunately they cannot become part of the IDF due to their special needs. And we bring them, Tehran brings them into Special in Uniform, where they go through a program. They serve in some capacity at various bases, and they actually become card-carrying member of the IDF. Lauren and I have been fortunate enough to be at some of the ceremonies where we give them their beret and their certificate, and there's not a dry eye in the house. These are very, very special kids. So, Tehran, thank you for all you do. Say hello to your family for us, and we'll see you in Denver, but maybe we'll see you before.
Thank you so much. And one more thing, Special in Uniform band, you can see it also, and I'm going to send it, or if you want, you can get to my Facebook page. They are singing day and night to the soldiers, making their moral rising up and up and up. You can see everybody's dancing with them. So we are in every field to make sure that we are going to win.
Well,
Thank you again, sir.
we'll be dancing with them because I know you're bringing them to Denver. So we'll be dancing with them. So stay safe and we'll be in touch.
Promise. We will. Thank you.
So let me just explain that, as I have in the past, that we do this live. So when you do it live, there's changes that go on. We keep changing who's up next. So just be, sort of be flexible along with us. So now we're going to introduce Olga Meshu Washington. She's a COO of Club Z and a member of the JNF USA Global Speakers Bureau, who you may recall was in our Situation Room in Israel on October 8th with our CEO, Russell Robinson. So why don't we go over to Olga now. Olga?
Thank you very much, Dr. Sol, and good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are zooming in from. As Dr. Sol introduced, my name is Olga Meshu Washington, and those that can pick up my accent, I'm not American, even though America is now my home. I'm originally from South Africa, and I have been in the Israel advocacy world for about 10 years, and I'm a passionate advocate for truth, a passionate advocate and believer in righteousness and justice, and that's why I continue to do what I do, and in doing so, I wear multiple hats. One of those hats is as the Chief Operation Officer of Club Z. Club Z is a teen Zionist organization here in the United States that works with Jewish youth to do various things, primarily providing them with education that is nuanced and that is deep, that speaks to who the Jewish people are, their connection to the land of Israel, peoplehood, as well as understanding the Middle East conflict, not only just from 1948, but even pre the establishment of the State of Israel, the rebirth of the State of Israel. We also empower them with skills so that when they have the knowledge that is beyond just talking points, they are able to speak effectively, that they're able to debate, that they're able to engage on social media, so that they can be proud activists for themselves, proud activists for the Jewish communities across the world, and more importantly, for the State of Israel. It is my love for young people that has me at Club Z, as well as the different hats that I wear. Interestingly, also, it's a Jewish prophet. I'm a Christian, but it's a Jewish prophet whose words I hold on to very dearly when he said that from Hashem, that my people perish because of lack of knowledge. And so the opportunity to empower young people with education as well as the skill set to do what they do gives me hope and joy. Before doing that with Club Z, I actually did it in South Africa with South African students there. Many of you that are familiar with the BDS campaign, they use the South African narrative of Israel being an apartheid state, which is an absolute lie, in order to change the hearts and minds of Black South Africans against Israel, even though the majority of them are Zionist at heart. And I'll speak a little bit to that later. In doing that work, and also with what I do with Club Z, Jerusalem Post as well as JNF recognize the work that I do, and together with 25 other visionaries, they called us from across the globe, they included us on a list and were to honor us on October 9. And I share that because that's what had me arrive in Israel on October 7. I recall sitting on a plane and I had taken a nap, and about 30 minutes after waking up, the pilot made an announcement to say, yes, some of you are very concerned about what's going on in Israel. We've been in touch with the dispatchers at Ben Gurion, and for now, the plane's going to land. I woke up and I was like, what do they mean? Why wouldn't we land? I was sitting next to a fellow passenger who also had not been on her phone and so was unfamiliar as to what was happening on the ground. And when we realized that war had broken out, not only did my heart break, but as one can appreciate, it's like, all right, we're in the air. What happens to us now? By Hashem's grace, we were able to land. And interestingly enough, on landing, I connected with Russell because he and I had connected just before taking off. He was coming to Israel for the ceremony and also to do other work. And in connecting with him on the ground, he, together with Marcy, literally as if I was one of their children, took me under their wing. I was supposed to go to Jerusalem, but that wasn't going to be safe. And so they took care of me for the next couple of days. I came in a few moments after the last speaker spoke, but I want to echo his words with regards to JNF being more than just a family. And even though I'm part of the JNF community by way of the Speakers Bureau, I have experienced the JNF love in an incredible way. And I want to not only thank Dr. Soul as well as Russell and the leadership of JNF, just for the humanity that you give, not only to your own, but to fellow Zionists and everybody and anybody that's in need. I have seen this in multiple ways. And just really want to thank and applaud you. So land in Israel, now with the JNF team, and I had the wonderful opportunity to spend 2 days at Alexander Muss and to get my hands, don't want to say dirty, but to get my hands involved with regards to helping out where I can. Some of what I was able to do and the lessons that I learned are as follows. First of all, I was able to speak to some of the teens that were at the school. As you can appreciate, they are majority from America, and they're concerned about, are they going to be able to get home safely? But what was inspiring to not only hear back from them and hopefully reflect back to them was here they were as proud young people reconnecting with their ancestral homeland. And for me to be able to give them hope, give them encouragement was wonderful, both on a great note, but also I'll say on a sad note. During our Q&A, one of them raised their hands and said, well, you as a Black South African, I would think that you would actually not want to talk to us, that you would actually not want to say that Israel has a right to exist and that there are people around the world who love and support us. And I say that it's sad because unfortunately that is the narrative from some, and I promise I'm going to close that loop soon. But it was inspiring for them to see that I represent a very real community, a very real generation that is not only proud to call ourselves Zionists, that is not only proud to call ourselves friends of Israel and friends of organizations such as JNF, but we inherently will do our best to speak up, to stand up, and as well as to defend. And so I was able to do that on the one day. The second day, I was able to help with the packing of those, if I'm not mistaken, about 1,400 bags of supplies, of necessities that JNF was able to get out to places in need. As a leader myself, one of the things that I was looking at was how Russell, together with the leaders around him, were able to create a command center and immediately dispatch help where it was needed, to be able to give instructions, to be able to utilize the infrastructure that JNF has on the ground was an incredible thing for me to both observe and watch and also learn for my future journey. For those that are new to JNF and are considering to either continue to start giving to JNF or even to increase your giving to JNF, I do want to say that from what I saw, your money is in good hands. I was so impressed with the ability just to say, all right, let's go. This is what we've had. This is what we've been able to do. How do we have meaningful impact pretty much immediately and in a way that is impactful? So I was able to do that. And maybe let me close by saying this. In South Africa, and it's not only a South African concept, but it's an African concept, there is the notion of Ubuntu, spelled U-B-U-N-T-U, Ubuntu. And it means, and I'm paraphrasing it in English, I am because you are, we are because you are. And what that means is that there is a connection from a humanity perspective that allows us to exist. I cannot exist on my own if others around me are not existing, if others around me are not existing well. And in that notion, I want to let you know that there are Africans like myself who not only feel your pain, who are not only hurting with you, who are not only crying with you at the atrocities that were committed several days ago, but who are on their knees praying for peace, who are on their knees praying for healing, who are available and wanting to give and to help, who are advocating for Israel to defend herself and do whatever she needs to do in order to do so. So yes, they are are voices that are out there on social media and even governments that have pledged solidarity with not allowing Israel to take care of her own. But please be assured, and I represent them, that we are working hard to ensure that there are increasing voices across the African continent and even in relation to Africans in the diaspora that love you, that appreciate you, and that are here for you, and that are going to be by your side for years as well as generations to come.
So Olga, thank you so much. I've had the privilege of meeting you and listening to you live, and your story is amazing. And I know that if everybody doesn't know about JNF USA's podcast, Israelcast is the name of it, Israelcast. On Monday, it will release a new episode with Olga, and you can hear more about Olga's personal story there. So thank you so much for what you do for JNF and for Israel. And hopefully we will see you soon.
Yes,
Thanks
sir.
so much.
Thank you.
So as I mentioned before, this is a live broadcast and things move around a little bit. So we're now going to go to Rick Krosnick, Chief Development Officer for
No, we're here.
I
Jewish.
think actually, Sal, I think I see that Tali and Jeff are online
Yeah.
now.
Yeah,
Well-
Jeff is here. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I
Let
didn't-
Jeff, because we're very limited in the space. Thank you very much.
Okay, the last note
Hello,
that I
how are
got
you?
was that Jeff is not available. So
We,
I stand corrected. So Jeff, thank you for being there. I'll let you go because your time is limited.
I really don't know where to begin. If I was a dog, this day would be 7 days because we have been all over, starting with a morning meeting with President Herzog, who spoke very pragmatically about the task at hand. Then we immediately went to see the governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, who was here in Israel, and in spite of the fact that her father passed away last night, came and gave her remarks, which were as supportive as we've heard from Biden and Blinken and McConnell and everybody else. So it's very reassuring to know that the body politic of the United States of America is fully supportive of the state of Israel. It's very important for us to know that, and it's very important for the people of Israel, and that is all we hear. I am told that if the national election in the United States were held in Israel, that Biden would win in a landslide. We then went on to the president's offices, where we had the privilege of listening to Ron Dermer at length, who basically let us know that this is, if you don't already know this, an existential threat to the state of Israel. If Israel does not go into the Gaza and eliminate completely the Hamas, that Israel will not continue to exist and prosper. People cannot live. It's very sad that the people in the South and in the North have to live with rockets regularly, not periodically, regularly. And they somehow have come to believe that is a normal way to live. Well, it's not a normal way to live. And this terrible invasion, which just occurred with atrocities that are beyond human comprehension, have made it necessary to the future of Israel and the Jewish people, because this anti-Israel, anti-Semitic attitude is not limited to the Middle East. It has made it essential for Israel to show its strength so it can go forward in peace and have peace through strength. We then had a very short visit with the Prime Minister Netanyahu, who reiterated this is going to be a long war, an intense war, and a rough war. But everybody, states across the parameters, from soldiers we've met to casualties we've been with, to the rabbis, to the soldiers, that Israel will win this war and make Israel a safe place for Jews of the world to live. After that, we went on to go to Hadassah Hospital, where obviously there are many casualties being treated. I was more moved by a desk that had maybe 100 yahrzeit candles. And I don't have to tell you what that means. And it was very distressing to see. One of the more moving experiences we had today is we were in a room in the hospital with a woman who was in Zukim. Many of you know Zukim. She was a relatively young woman who was a nurse, who has 10 children, who was awakened on that terrible morning by the sound of rockets. And very many of the residents here tell me that the quantity and consistency of the rockets made them know something was different. She was taking her children with her husband to a shelter when she was accosted by what appeared to be an Israeli soldier, but was apparently a Hamas terrorist who had somehow gotten a hold of a Israeli soldier's uniform. God knows what happened to the soldier. And she took 3 bullets, but managed to continue using, she was a religious woman, managed to use her headscarf to make a tourniquet upon herself. And she and the children, thank God, are well. But there are so many stories. Last night, after we spoke to you, we attended a session with a woman whose, I believe it was her husband. No, her husband was there with her. Please forgive me, there's so many stories. Her mother and her 3 children were abducted. And at that time, when she sat with us and spoke to us, it was not clear that her children were hostages or were kidnapped or, God forbid, passed away. But the reality is, just an hour after our meeting with her and her husband, she got news that her husband and her, her mother and one of her children, a daughter, were identified as being deceased in Gaza. So the stories here are horrible, but the will of the Israeli people is incredible. They are consumed with the fact that this mission must be accomplished. And I will tell you, you know that I am here as the lay leader for the Jewish National Fund USA, along with Tali Tsur, who is our professional here in Israel. And everywhere we go, everybody tells us that this conference of presidents of major Jewish American organizations is giving them the comfort of knowing that the Jewry in the United States of America and from all over the world are completely supportive of everything and anything that Israel needs to do to make it safe for the Jewish people. I'm now going to return because I stepped away from the conference for the moment to make this presentation. I look forward to seeing you all back in the States in the near future. And thank you for all that you are doing, all of you on the phone, for the Jewish National Fund, for the people of Israel. And I cannot tell you how appreciative I am. Thank you.
Just the reverse, Jeff. We're so appreciative of what you do and Tali and everybody on the ground there. So we'll let you go back to your session, and we'll move over to Rick Krosnick, Chief Development Officer of JNF USA. Rick.
Thank you, Sal. And at the top, let me just make a plug for our upcoming global conference. You heard from Olga. Most of us were introduced to Olga last year at our national conference in Boston. So you can see the quality and the depth of the types of speakers that we bring to you, like Olga and so many other thought leaders, opinion makers, and the like. So please join us at the end of November in Denver if you have not already registered. I have heard over the last week and a half from people who have said to me, I see what JNF is doing in Israel. Why you? Why isn't the government doing this or that? And I've got 2 answers. Number one, when you've heard Sal in the past say things to us like, JNF was there yesterday, we are here today, and we will be there tomorrow, it is not a cliche. It is the truth. Jewish National Fund has been on the ground for more than 120 years, but specifically, we are working with these communities on a daily basis. You've heard me say it before. These are friends, these are families, these are the very communities that we have developed. So we are there. We are enmeshed in everything that is going on in these communities. But there's another thing to understand. The role for not-for-profit agencies like Jewish National Fund to play. The government cannot do everything. I so appreciate what Olga said in her talk when she was sitting in our operations center, and she shared what she was seeing our operations center go to work. Nobody asked us. This is just what we do. And this is the role for philanthropic organizations like Jewish National Fund. We are the spearhead often. We are at the tipping point often. We can move much more nimbly than government can ever do. And then afterwards, we're going to fill in the gaps that the government can't reach. There is always going to be a role for an organization like Jewish National Fund, both because this is our family and these are the communities that we work in, because we're going to also have to pick up the pieces that the government just cannot do. It was Jewish National Fund who reached out to our partners, working cooperation with the Central Arava Regional Council, for example, housing 2,000 evacuees. All in all, JNF is involved in more than 15,000 evacuees from the Gaza envelope area. Nobody told us to do it. We just did. We just did. And we are so proud of this JNF family that has come together, and people that we had never known before who have joined our army. There are so many people who just feel this urge to participate, to help. And you can't get on a flight to go, and you're not going to, pick up a rifle and go to the front lines. You're not. Our weapon, we have two weapons, our voice and our checkbook. Our voice and our checkbook, those are our weapons. Our voice allows us to advocate like Olga is doing so strongly and proudly, and we need to keep doing it. We know the script of how these things go. A week ago, everybody was with us. Most people were with us. They saw the atrocities, and little by little, we know what happens. The moral equivalency and the appropriateness and how things go. War is ugly. We know how this goes. You need your voice. Put your voice out there. Advocate for Israel to be able to live in a secure and safe way, like anybody should be able to live. And then your checkbook. Because when you write a check to our campaign, you are enabling us to do the work we need to do on the ground. You are giving us the flexibility to deploy dollars where we need them, when we need them. And there are opportunities to do that. First of all, of course, if you have not yet already made your gift, click on that link, jnf.org/support Israel. You're getting the messages from us. There's always a button you can click on the link. But then use your voice and engage your friends, your family, your neighbors to participate as well. When you get that daily email from us every afternoon with the recording of this program, you're given different kinds of opportunities to express your support and solidarity with Israel. One of them is to create a peer-to-peer page. We've all received them. A friend might be doing a walk for, cancer research or this or that, right? We've gotten these messages from friends, please join me, tell your story, and you can click the button to support them. We do the same thing. And I'm happy to tell you, more than 500 people have already created peer-to-peer pages to tell the story of what we're doing on the ground and the needs, and then to share that with their friends. So when you get that message this afternoon from Russell Robinson with the information about this meeting and tomorrow's as well, there will be an instruction so you can do your own peer-to-peer page. But we've got an army of people. We've raised more than $16 million already from more than 15,000 supporters. By the way, as of yesterday, 12,000 first-time donors to Jewish National Fund. 12,000 people who weren't part of our family who have stepped up and say, I'm in, I want to support. Sal, thank you for the time that you gave me. We appreciate everything that you do. It's your voice and it's your check. Thank you.
Thanks, Rick. So well said. I just want to pick up on a couple of things. First of all, on some of these Zooms, we do have time for Q&A. Today is not one of those days, but and like Tehran, we thought maybe we'd have a Q&A, but he had to go. I wanted to mention one thing. Jeff mentioned that they were down at Zukim. Zukim is one of the communities that was one of the first Women for Israel, JNF Women for Israel, WFI, supported and created. So we know that that's very special to the Jewish National Fund, and especially to the Women for Israel segment. Also, I wanted to mention that, and to follow up what Rick said, the government's busy, we know that. And there was another interview on TV where the interviewer was asking somebody in the South, has the government been here to support you? And they said, well, the government, they can't, they're trying to just focus on defense, but the Jewish National Fund from USA is here helping us. So the people appreciate it, they know who we are. And in some cases, they've said we're lifesavers. So in any event, thank you all for being part of today's Zoom. As Rick said, jnf.org/support Israel. Every dollar goes directly to those people and areas that are in the greatest need. Tomorrow, we will again have a Zoom. That's at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, and Am Israel Chai.